Alright, so today we're going to look at some boondoggles that break out of the norm a little bit because they use stitches which are not really based on the square and circle stitch. So the majority of boondoggles that you see in the community are some variation of square and circle, where you either have, the square stitch, or you have the brick stitch that's 2 square stitches, or you have the quad stitch that's 4 square stitches, or things like that. And then you can twist any of those, and then you can just consider it to be circle stitches. But today I'm going to show stitches that are based on other shapes other than squares, such as triangle based, or pentagon based, or hexagon based, or things like that. So the basic boondoggler will probably not understand what I'm talking about very much in this video, but this is intended more for people who have mastered the majority of stitches that are found on the majority of tutorial related resources out there, websites and things. So anyway, I'm going to start kind of a little bit more basic and then build my way up. So this is a larger triangle stitch. And so what this is a 2 by 2 by 2 triangle stitch. So as you can see, there are 3 pieces of string folded in half, and they form a triangular shape. And so this type of a boondoggle is created using 6 strings. So there's one side, there's another side, there's the third side. And then this is what it looks like when you bring the strands straight across on each stitch while you're doing the boondoggle. If you cross the strands rather than bringing them straight across, you end up with the twisted version, just like any other boondoggle. So this is a twisted 2 by 2 by 2 triangle. It looks a lot like maybe a tornado, a twisted quad stitch. It also looks kind of similar to a twist stitch, a twisted 2 by 1 stitch, but it actually is neither of those things, because as you can see, it has 3 colors, and those 3 colors are just kind of alternating at a consistent rate. So if you were to start at the top here, we see white, then purple, then yellow, then white, then purple, then yellow, then white, then purple, then yellow, then white, then purple, then yellow. And it's a consistent pattern. And this one doesn't have the finishing stitch on it, so you can see just what the stitch looks like for that 2 by 2 triangle. And then here's a combination between those two things. So this has some portions of it that are the twisted 2 by 2 triangle, but other parts of it are what I would call a gradual twist 2 by 2 triangle, which means that it's a pattern alternating between 2 straight stitches and then 1 twisted stitch. So those 3 were kind of all related to each other. Next, I'm going to show this one. So this one has 4 pieces of string only. Each is folded in half, so you have 8 working ends. But all this is essentially 2 of these side by side attached to each other. What I mean by that is, when you're actually doing the stitch on this one, it looks like 2 by 2 triangles next to each other, kind of sharing a side. So as you can see, this has kind of 2 sides to it. It's got this side and this side. So the purple side and the white side. So each one of these white strands, you can actually see these strands are running across back and forth here, back behind where you can't see. And then you can see both sides because it's kind of curved. So here's maybe what that looks like a little bit from the top. It's almost like a football shaped stitch. So I wish I would have taken a picture while I was doing the boondoggle. So that's one way that you can expand it. Here's an even bigger way that you can expand it. So what this is basically a quad stitch running down the middle with 4 2 by 2 triangle stitches one attached to each side of the quad stitch to make this kind of four-pointed star. So if you look at that, that's the shape it kind of makes. And you know, these boondoggles are, these stitches are a little bit difficult to tighten consistently to make the stitch look even and neat. You can see they're kind of lumpy because the strands are kind of curving in uncommon ways, I guess, for each stitch. But there's those. So these are all kind of grouped together into one category. This is kind of the 2x2 triangle and its variations. And I guess this one fits into that category as well. This is for the last entry in that. This one doesn't have very much triangle on it. This is mostly square-based and circle-based stitches. But as you can see, right here and right here, it splits up. And each time it splits up, it's actually well, it's 4 of the 2x2 triangle stitches there. Kind of making these windows. So that's what's going on there. It's a giant super fluted columns stitch. So if you were to split a normal fluted columns stitch into 4, a lot of times the way to do that would be with 4 triangle stitches. And so here we have kind of a doubled up fluted columns, and so it's splitting into 4 of the 2x2 triangle stitches. Okay, and then next we're going to talk about some other variations. I have sketches and I have other stitches that I want to do and that I want to try that I've yet to make with kind of this concept, but I'm just showing the projects that I have. And so this, well, actually I'll start with something more simple. So this is a square stitch combo project that alternates between the square stitch and this other stitch. Let me move these. This other stitch, which is also using 4 strands, but it's a square stitch that's kind of got points on either side. So as you can see, it goes square stitch, and then this kind of eyeball or football shaped stitch, square, football, square, etc., etc. And each time I did them perpendicular to each other. So again, each one of these segments, I'm zoomed in on this yellow segment right now. So each one of these segments really only has 2 sides to it. It has that side and that side. It's not a 4-sided shape that it creates like your average square stitch would be a 1, 2, 3, 4-sided shape. So anyway, so that was what I wanted to show before this. So this is a sword that I've shown in a previous video, just like all of these. But the thing that I wanted to point out is the blade part of the sword that I'm holding right now with my hand. It uses this kind of triangulation technique on the edges. So as you can see, the edges they come to sort of like a point rather than being squared off like your typical big wall stitch, because this would in theory be like a 6x1 or a 5x1 wall, right? 1, 2, 3, yeah, 6x1 wall. But well, it would be a 5x1 wall, but it looks like the width of a 6x1 wall because what would be the edges on the 6x1 wall are actually kind of flipped over to be on the same side, if that makes any sense, as the rest of the walls. Okay, here's another one. Another combo project that I made that also uses some triangulated stitches. And on this one, they are in, so each section, which is not split apart, is kind of like an I shape, like the letter I. And each time, the top and the bottom portions that are made with this kind of dark blue color, as well as this glow in the dark boondoggle string, they are pointed and triangulated on either side rather than being square. So there's that example. And then the last one I want to show, well, not the last one, but this next one, basically the last one, is a little bit into its own category, and this is a little bit into what's a little bit more unexplored territory for me with my boondoggling, but this is a hexagon stitch that is extended out one, I guess, unit in 3 directions. So in the middle, so if I were to take out the light blue strands out of the equation, all this would be a hexagon made of the orange and the normal blue strings. But each of those 3 pieces of light blue GIMP extended out. So this has a total of 9 working strands. It's like a fluted columns, but with only 3. And with a kind of a hexagon in the middle. And of course there's a bit of a hole in the middle of the hexagon stitch, just like there's a bit of a hole in the middle of this stitch. I want to make another one of these that's a combo with also the twisted version of this stitch, because I have seen the twisted version of this stitch. Then the last one I want to show you is actually a incomplete boondoggle. This is going to be the only one that I show in this video that I've never shown before online on the channel. But so this one, what it is it's a 2x2 triangle stitch made with the black strands plus it's lengthened out in 3 directions, if that makes any sense. So if you look at the top here, you can see kind of the shape of what the stitch looks like. So the black forms a normal 2x2 triangle stitch, and then the green and blue colors lengthen it out in each direction. It looks kind of like a pinwheel. So I've done 20 stitches of straight, and then I've done some twisted, the twisted version of the stitch, just to rotate it around, I guess, 1 notch. That would be, what, 1/3 of 360? I don't know how many degrees. I don't know, good at math. But anyway, I wanted to show specifically what it is each stitch looks like. So I just started twisting again for the second twisted portion. As you can see, I've done just 2 twisted stitches after this straight portion. So this is a twisted stitch, but at face value it should look more or less the same as a regular stitch. So let's see here. Here's what that stitch looks like, if I can get it in here. So it's hard to see since all the strands are all black, but you can see there's a 2x2 triangle, and then it's extended out in 3 places with kind of like a square stitch, or I guess a circle stitch, because it's twisting in 3 directions. So anyway, I'm excited to see how this one turns out when it's done. But like I said, that's just the beginning for, I think, this category of boondoggles. I have sketches that I've made and concepts. I do want to make a lot more kind of boondoggles that fit this description. So thank you for watching.